Makeba, and for this column I like to focus on reunification. Recently I had a friend who was talking to me about the fact that her mom is going to be released from prison soon, and she doesn't necessarily know how to go about reunifying with her mom. A lot of time has passed. She hasn't necessarily had that much contact with her mother since her mother's incarceration, and she doesn't really know what kind of role her mother will play after she is released. So I just had a few tips, and they're basically based on my life, things that I had to learn while reunifying with my mother. And I think the most important thing is to really focus on what role your mother is going to play in your life. Especially if you're an adult and there's been a long period of incarceration. And so, you know, your relationship is kind of in suspended animation, right? Because it's like, on the one hand, she's still your mother, or, you know, your father, your parent. But on the other hand, you know, you are an adult, or you're older than you were. And so the relationship is not going to be what it was before the actual incarceration. So it's very important to know what role your newly released family member is going to play in your life at this point. And it's very good to figure that out before the actual release. And also, a lot of times reunification happens very quickly, you know, instantly. Like, people come home and they're very excited to see their families, and, you know, you sort of fall into this sort of relationship, and it's getting its, you know, stride and all that. And that's all well and good, but when a person is first released, they have a lot of things that they have to do for themselves. They have to secure housing, you know, they have to learn about the outside world. There are new technologies coming out every day. You know, you have to work on finding employment, and that in itself is a lot for someone who has had basically every life decision made for them for a long period of time. So they have to get used to that, you know, making decisions for themselves, living their own lives, constructing their own lives, figuring out where they want to go from there. And then you add on familial relationships, and it can be overwhelming. So, you know, encourage your person, your loved one who's coming home, to really spend that time, you know, reconstructing their lives and, you know, finding their place within the community, and then begin to work on your relationship. And once you are working on your relationship, you know, I am a fan of therapy. A lot of people, especially people of color, have this stigma around therapy and, oh, I'm not crazy and all that, this and the other. But I really believe that if you need something, if you need to work something out, therapy is a good solution. You have a third party, someone who's objective, who can help you with things. So, you know, use that if you need to figure out what your relationship is going to look like. You have to reconcile different aspects of your parent. You know, who they were before the incarceration, who they were during the incarceration, and who they're ultimately going to be upon release. You know, and then therapy with your parent to develop healthy expectations and boundaries is also a good idea, because you're really going to need to know how to interact with each other at this point in your lives. So that's part one of reunification. I hope it was helpful to some people. It's basically what I've learned throughout my life dealing with the incarceration of my mom. And yeah, so I'll see you next time. Bye.